Greetings, today we'll be covering the helicopter tricycle for normal mode. It's come to my attention a lot of people have difficulties when learning this section of the speedrun, particularly when it comes to making distinctions on positioning and timing. There are a lot of small nuances to the helicopter, a lot of small details people seemingly gloss over when executing the battle. And in turn this become a failure or a super lame force cycle. Hopefully the guide I am providing will give you enough insight on the dreaded helicopter. If anything, if the cues I am putting forth don't work for you, you will understand how to make your own setups and maybe make a new tricycle setup. Who knows? Who knows? Who knows? Alright, okay, the first thing we should talk about is why the helicopter functions like it does, and it's all thanks to Model X's charge shot mechanics. As you know, you got 3 stages of charge. Your third stage will be this super lame blue non-descript attack. But your fourth stage is more interesting because it uses this very same shot, but it has some pink lasers orbiting on top of it. These pink lasers actually behave independently from the blue shot, so if something happens to the blue shot, then this will start engaging its own trajectory, and this is where the difficulty of the helicopter lies. Understanding how these pink shots behave, how to control them, and making this happen thrice during the battle in order to cut off a cycle. Because the totems, that's how I like to call the helicopter, is cargo. Totems will deal a quarter of the helicopter's health, so we'll need just a little extra push with our shots in order to cut off a cycle. So it's all about timing this. So for example, I'm gonna have the fourth stage shot hit this slope, so when it reaches the ground, alright, you notice that it just collided with the slope as well as one of the pink shots I had remaining, but there was still another pink shot available when the blue shot hit the slope, right? So what's going to happen is that this pink shot will just continue flying on a specific direction, and this direction is heavily dependent on how the blue shot hit its target, where the pink shot was positioned, and the direction it was taking at the moment of collision. And also there are other small aspects of the helicopter, but generally you don't have to worry about it. There's just a lot of weird things happening with the pink shots, so don't worry about it. Just get your positions right and you should be alright. Okay, we're also going to be executing RNG manipulation in the mid-battle, and this will sound super spooky, but trust me, we'll be doing something relatively simple and it'll only happen once. What you need to know is that in CX, most projectiles generate a yellow spark when colliding with a wall. As you'll notice, when my lemons hit this platform, they are generating a small yellow spark, and this explosion is a randomly generated aspect of the game, so it dictates advancement on the RNG. Whenever one of these shots collides with a wall and generates that spark, it is going to advance the RNG by some amount. I'm not positive how much it could be. However, all of Model X's projectiles have this behavior, so when this blue shot connects with the wall, it is also going to generate this blue spark. What you need to know is that you have to be careful about where you shoot this, and I will go over that right now. Let's jump right into the fangs of the beast. You need to cutscene skip for this battle, because cutscene skips always get you a consistent seed at the start of the battle after your fade out is done. So if you don't have cutscene skips, then it wouldn't be possible to do RNG manipulation in the first place. So it doesn't matter where you do the cutscene skip, as long as it happens, then you got your initial seed, your default pre-established seed. And you can work this off to always make the RNG manipulation consistent. So what the RNG does to the helicopter is manipulate how it behaves, where and when it drops its totems, and the direction still be moving on the field once it deposits its cargo. So something you might be wondering is if I already put the spooks on you from the sparks affecting RNG, right? So let's say I shoot. Oh no, if it hit the wall that was there, right? Because we were just going ham on a platform that was over here in order to showcase this concept. The thing with the battle is that once it begins, it locks the screen on this exact location. So what happens with most shots is that once they leave the screen, they actually despawn. So no matter what happens, they will have no effects on the RNG because they didn't collide with a wall and didn't generate these sparks that have the capacity to advance the RNG. However, what you need to be careful about is actually engaging with the totem, because when I hit it, you see how very momentarily it's generating that small spark before expanding into that weird circle. So you only have to be careful about how you shoot the totem. If you, say, accidentally let go of your charge and it goes off screen, you don't have to worry because it won't actually collide with anything to affect the RNG. Alright, so let's actually do the thing. So for the first cycle of the battle, we want to be standing on the right end of the screen, the right edge. The reason for this is that once the helicopter deploys its totems, then it will start moving left afterwards. So we want our pink shot to snipe the helicopter as it's moving, and there is a very particular reason for this. There is a thing in this game with an order of operations. I think that would be a good way to describe it. You'll know with, say, Model CX, you can only combo in a very specific order. You can only shoot and then you can go ham with your sword, right? The same concept applies to this battle, because we are actually comboing. Believe it or not, we are comboing the pink shots and the totems when they connect on the helicopter's belly. What we need to be careful about is that the pink shots have priority over the totem. So if the pink shots hit before the totems do, then this will trigger invulnerability frames on the helicopter and the totems won't deal any damage, because the pink shots have priority on the list of operations. So you gotta be careful about your timing in that regard to make sure your pink shot doesn't accidentally ruin your combo, because it's not gonna deal that much damage, and if you get this to happen, it'll probably extend the battle by a cycle. Okay, so for the first position in the battle, you only need to have your fourth stage, you don't need a third stage, and you only have to be standing on the ground, because as you'll notice, the totem is on the is in the lowest position. Every cycle of this method... oh, did I mention this? I think I kind of glossed over it. We're going to be executing the Flameberger approach. He came up with this setup, and if you don't think this works out too well for you, you can also pull up your own RNG manipulation, but there is no need... there's really no need to make more research on this battle. Like, the Flameberger trademark method gets you some super easy positions, very, very simple timing, and you only require to advance the RNG once throughout the entire encounter. So I would recommend you stick with this, because it's easy. So anyway, in every cycle of the battle, the vulnerable totem, the red one, will be positioned on different heights, and that changes the timing of your attacks. So each cycle will be different because the totems will be positioned in different places and also on different stages on the pole. So it's something that makes routing this battle difficult. The position I like to take is that you notice I have Ale at the very edge of the screen, but not quite. She's also advanced a little bit to the left. What I like to do is using her right foot, well, it'd be her left from Ale's perspective. I like to using Ale's left leg to make sure my position is correct. Most positions during the helicopter are somewhat permissive. You usually have like 4 pixels or 6 frames. I cannot confirm this, but it's the arbitrary number I'm throwing in order to actually execute the cycles properly. So don't worry too hardcore about your positions, but obviously you need them correct to make the battle work. So the position I am using here is that you'll notice that Ale has some weird yellow leg bracelet around her shoe, that yellow ankle thingy above her. You can actually see a really small pixel on the right edge of the screen of that yellow ankle, and that is what I like to use to position myself, because see, you only need to notice 1 pixel to make it work, and also it gets you the positioning for this cycle and the second cycle of the battle. So you already shot 2 beers with 1 stone with this one. Alright, so I'll make a demo. Hopefully I won't make a fool out of myself. Awesome. Okay, so what I like to do for first cycle of the helicopter is use a rhythm, because you'll notice when the totems start landing they make a tunk 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 noise. I like to use that as a rhythm to get me started, and then I continue it. So what I do is count to 5, and then on 5 I launch my charge. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Awesome. Something you need to be careful of is moving when launching your shot. You need to be standing on the ground and on your fixed preferred position in order to make it work. Because if I jump, it will change the trajectory of the shot, and it will probably miss either the totem or the helicopter. Or say if I start moving to the left. See? The timing is also to make sure your shot snipes the helicopter properly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Awesome. With that method, I actually delay my shot quite a bit to make sure it hits the helicopter. You can do it a little earlier, but I cannot attest to how that would work. But with that method in particular, you have to be real. If you don't mind taking damage, then you can just stand on the ground. But due to how much I delay my attack, the totems actually get to shoot some of those weird footballs of plasma. So you gotta jump over those to prevent damage. Just something to keep in mind. So one more time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Awesome. Now for the second cycle of the battle, we still want to stand on the left, and as I mentioned earlier, I use the same position I employ for the first cycle. However, this is where we do RNG manipulation. You want to wait for a helicopter to drop the totems, and then you want to shoot. You want to shoot them once. So what will happen is that that'll give us a really nice position for the tier cycle. Awesome. So I just want to showcase where the helicopter will be standing. With that extra shot, we advance the RNG to make sure the helicopter lands on this spot, and that makes it very convenient to get the tier cycle. If you don't do that, then the helicopter will move into another spot. Thank you. To get a shot, right? There we go. So yeah, just for the sake of showcasing. it'll now move to the left edge, and getting a shot from this position is nearly impossible, because the helicopter won't be standing nicely below the totem to make our pink shots hit the helicopter, and if you try to shoot from the left, you will have to deal with all this damage. Maybe there is a position to get the shot if you get the RNG, but it's just easier to have the reminder of shooting once when the totems land and then going for the second shot. Alright, so regarding the shot itself, this is the most difficult by far, because you have to nail an horizontal height and also a really careful timing. If you shoot too early or too late, we go back to that issue with the list of operations the game has. Generally, if you shoot too early, then the pink shot will connect first, and then you'll miss out on the whole totem damage. So that's a big problem with this cycle. Alright, so I don't have a very exact cue for this. I use, let's see, I just like waiting for the last totem to land and then I do my jump, because you gotta be careful. You gotta wait for the totems to actually engage activation, like start shooting footballs at you, and also for the red totem to become active, so it's actually vulnerable to damage. So you gotta be precise. I think it's a 4-frame window. You need to shoot at the correct height, you need to land the attack properly, and also wait long enough for the helicopter to start moving to get the pink shot to hit correctly. So right around that height should be okay? Yeah. As long as you see Ailey's body partially below the hell bar on the UI, like you can see that Ailey's body is being covered a little above her torso. That's a good indicator, but what I would do is aim for right at the middle of the totems. I will probably use an annotation to make to note this more easily, because it's difficult to describe. But each totem has an intersection. What you need to do is aim a little above the intersection between the third and second totem. So hopefully this position is correct. Alright. And just make sure that you are aiming a little above the intersection, and you'll probably get the shot correctly if you use the timing I mentioned. So just wait for all the totems to land, get your jump, and you should be good. See? There we go. I got to show that off at least. The pink shot connected first, so it triggered invulnerability frames before the totem hit. And notice how much damage I missed because of that. Unless you get another charge shot in there, that became a 5 cycle. There we go. Awesome. So now for the last cycle of the battle. This one is super simple. It's very permissive when it comes to positioning. You notice that there is some debris in the background behind Ale. I like Ailey's left foot to be standing right next to the last few black pixels of that debris. And more or less, that is the position you want to be aiming for. You don't need your tier shot. You're like, we're done with RNG manipulation. So what you need to do is apply the same concept of hitting the totems at their intersections, but you can actually aim between the top intersection and the lower intersection of the red totem here. So you can go like that, or you can also do a super small hop to get it on the lower end, but I am not very good at that, so I just prefer aiming for the upper intersection. So yeah, you should wait a little until after the totem's activated to make sure your pink shot doesn't graze over the helicopter, and then you should be alright. By the way, the position for this attack is super permissive. Like, you can be anywhere near the debris and you'll get the shot. See, This is, but you don't have to worry too much about this one, as long as you are in the general area where the shot can be properly managed. And I think that's it. Let's make a demo. Hopefully I can pull it properly. I shoot too low. Oh well. I mean, you already got the concept. You already got the concept down. Hopefully, it's all about practice, though. Aiming correctly is not fun to do, but once you get a feel for the battle and learn the positions, then it all becomes second nature. It looks spooky because it doesn't look like you're supposed to hit the helicopter. Well, if you have any queries, any questions, make sure to contact the Dream Team. We are always available for help. Good luck, my friend.